Welcome back to another episode of the Four Downs Podcast, where we cover 4 trending topics in the NFL in 20 minutes or less. I am joined by the president of Chaotically Intolerant Multimedia Productions, Alex Boyajian. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Let's do this thing.
Yeah.
I have a bad cut on my lip too, so talking is not my strong suit today.
Oh, did you get a fight with a bear?
No, not a bear. No fights.
As always, we'll start off with Thursday Night Football, a game that many of us kind of knew the outcome of going into it. When you're in New Orleans with no Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed out for the year, Taysom Hill missing quite a bit of practice and the game, Derek Carr still out with a rib injury, and Denver maybe sort of on the come up. I didn't expect it to be a blowout like it was. I expected a solid win by Denver, but New Orleans just looked pathetic. Bad coaching, defense, very little effort from my perspective. And that's sort of been their MO recently. The New Orleans defense is last in total defense, bottom 10 in almost everything else, whether it be rush defense, pass defense, points allowed. In the last 3 weeks, they've allowed 110 points. Not a winning formula, to say the least, more of a bottom team in the league formula. And from what I saw, Bo Nix is looking better. Started off the season with those 2 games where he threw no touchdowns and 2 interceptions per game. Since then, has been protecting the ball, running the offense fairly clean, efficiently, and they're scoring. They are missing a true running back, Javonte Williams. Some of the guys that are running out there are not really getting the job done, but Bo Nix is finding ways to win. And Denver's defense looks stronger. They're getting pressure on the quarterback. They gave Spencer Rattler a fairly tough time out there. I don't expect them to be a winning team this year, a division winner or a playoff team, but I think they're trending in the right direction, and it looks like Bo Nix could be their QB going forward. What do you think?
Well, this game, I think I watched 2 minutes of this game. I watched more of the highlights because I was clipping some of the highlights for our socials than I actually watched of live game time. That's how much I wasn't interested in this game, first of all. The graphic, the TNF graphic from last week promoting this game had Sean Payton as like the Broncos main player, which first I was like, you got a young rookie quarterback. Why are you not throwing Bo Nix up there on the graphic? Nobody wants to see Sean Payton. Nobody wants to see that off-brand Kevin James. And, now we had to watch this just first off, like what juice was there for this matchup, even before the season? Like what juice was there for this matchup? Now, if I told you on September 18th, I think it was September 18th. Let me look at the dates here. No, September 16th. If I told you September 16th, we would have a completely different expectation for this game. I think we would have expected the Saints to roll. It would probably be the exact score just flipped for teams. I did not care about this game. There was no juice in this. Like even like the uniform matchup was like, oh my goodness, like this uniform matchup is gross. Like sometimes there's like really horrible games, but the uniform matchup is good. So it's like, okay, I'll watch this. Or there's a divisional matchup, or it's just like an old rivalry. I don't know anything about Broncos and Saints. I don't know about any sort of Super Bowl that they played against each other. The only thing I know is it's the Sean Payton Bowl, and I have the almost least interest in the bowl for the guy who orchestrated Bountygate. I will say, if I talked to a Saints fan on September 16th and I said, hey, or September 16th, I said, hey, in 4 weeks, Derek Carr is not going to be the starter. Chris Olave is not going to play. Rashid Shaheed is going to be out for the year, and you're going to be 2-5, and you are going to be seen as probably one of the worst teams in football. I think they would throw up on the spot. This is, I don't know what type of like flip we've seen here. There's just no excitement now. I mean, these teams, like it felt like they could be like a contender, like a true contender for the NFC South to fight against the Bucks and Bucks and the Falcons, and they are putting up, I think, less of a fight than the Panthers at this point. I think they're They're competing with the Panthers for last place in the South. On the Denver side, listen, this is a game that as a Denver team that, they're not great, they're not awful, but they're not great. This is a game you should have won. They should be winning these games. These are the games, these are the gimmies that you should be winning. Chargers, they came back close. They came back against the Chargers. The Chargers almost chargered it. They manhandled the Raiders. Beat the Jets 10-9 before that. Kicked the shit out of the Bucs. That was an unexpected win, of course. And then they struggled against Seahawks and Broncos. So Denver's winning the games they should. Bo Nix is not making too many mistakes. And I think that's all you can hope for right now out of this Denver team in year one of Bo Nix.
I agree. Yeah, and that'll be enough of that game. Let's move on.
I'm surprised we got 5 minutes. I'm so happy we got 5 minutes of that.
Like a kid trying to finish his essay, trying to match the word count.
Yeah,
that's
exactly what I was doing. You're a teacher. I've had plenty of essays where I've done that, and I'm like, oh my god, what is this teacher gonna think? Never heard a word from them, so they didn't care.
Luckily, I'm a math teacher. I don't have to read that.
That's true.
All right, and here we are on Sunday's game picks. Alex will be reading. I will be picking today. I believe I picked last week, but without Josh here today, I'm going to run it back again and see if I can do better than I've done in past weeks. So whenever you're ready, give me those games.
All right, London game, 9:30, Pats, Jags.
Dude, London games are always so hard to pick, but Jacksonville is used to going over to London. The NFL ships them over there almost every year. But I guess probably because Jacksonville doesn't care enough to watch their games. I'll take Jacksonville in a pseudo home game.
There's only 2 games I'm going to butt in on you for this. This is one of them. Doug Peterson, he feels like he's on his way out. I really just can't see the Jags winning this game. The Jags are such a bad football team, and Drake May threw 3 touchdowns last week. And I think the Patriots have that young kind of unpredictability about them. I think the Patriots are a great play here, especially as 6-point dogs. Next game,
Bills.
We'll
have to circle back to that then next week.
Yeah, next week. Bills, Titans in Buffalo.
Bills, easy. Well, I'm excited to see what Amari Cooper does. If he's sort of figured out that offense, or if they kind of put him out there on a few packages just to get him acclimated. Either way, Bills by a lot in that game.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see too much from him at least this week, but you never know. Texans, Packers in Green Bay.
In a game like that where I have trouble, I'm going to go with a home team, especially in that Lambeau Field home field advantage. I'm going to take Green Bay to squeak it out. Really close game there.
Dolphins, Colts in Indianapolis.
Colts by 25. Dolphins offense looks like the worst in the league. I mean, I know you don't trust your own team, but
Gus Bradley's defense will make them look like Brady and Moss. It's gonna make Huntley and Hill look like Brady and Moss. I promise you, they're gonna tear us apart. Eagles, Giants.
Eagles. Even though Eagles look terrible recently, I think they get it together. Sirianni is a child running an NFL team. He's a terrible head coach. I've said that for a few years now. He's immature. He makes stupid decisions, says stupid stuff. But I think they can get past the Giants this week.
Probably top 3 biggest game of the week, Lions, Vikings.
I have thought about this long and hard. I think this is the Lions' game. I think this is their week to make a statement, to sort of take the throne in that division from a Vikings team that no one expected to be in that position. I still expect the Vikings to win that division because their defense, but this week I expect a statement game out of Detroit, Jared Goff and that offense.
I agree with you. I do like the Lions here. This is a good prove-it game for them. And the Vikings have to lose at some point. Like 5, they can't be 6-0. I think I've said that every week. Seahawks, Falcons in Atlanta.
Falcons look good recently. I'm a big fan of Kirk Cousins, always have been. I watch him on quarterback. He's a super likable guy, so I definitely have some bias there. I think they're just the better squad. Seattle has overperformed this year, in my opinion, but the Falcons are pretty good on both sides of the ball. Not outstanding on defense, but I think they'll get the job done.
Bengals Browns in Cleveland.
Bengals by 40, maybe. Nick Chubb coming back. I don't understand why Chubb is going to be on the field this week in a game that they're going to lose by a lot. Maybe he's just desperate to play some football, but coming off an injury like that in the middle of this season, I don't know why he's coming back at all for that team. However, more power to him. I love the guy. So Nick Chubb has a great game. Browns lose by 40.
Joe Burrow in his career at Cleveland is 0-3 against the Cleveland Browns.
This is a
He's also
completely
1-5 combined.
Yeah, this is a different year. The Browns are so bad; they're dysfunctional. I can't imagine what the team chemistry is like in that locker room. Playing behind Deshaun Watson and how the organization is just sticking with him no matter what.
I think it's the. I think Kevin Stefanski is doing you smoked a cigarette, so you got to smoke all of them, like the whole pack, with Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
Doing it to Jimmy Haslam, the owner. Panthers Commanders in Washington.
Commanders by a lot. We're going to talk more Commanders later, though, so we'll say that.
Raiders Rams at the Apple Store of the NFL, LA, basically. SoFi.
Cooper Kupp back this week. That'll give the Rams a boost. Matt Stafford loves Cooper Kupp. I think they rekindle that connection after a few weeks out. Rams get it done.
The stands will be filled with Raider fans. I know that. It's going to be silver and black. Big game. Chiefs, Niners in San Francisco. San Francisco is favored by 2 points right now.
I'm going to take the Chiefs by 35. Okay, my real pick, Chiefs win in a very close one. 49ers can't beat the Chiefs. We've proven that in 2 Super Bowls in 5 years. They can't beat us.
I can't remember. I actually can't remember. I'm not trying to be an asshole. I can't remember what was the last regular season matchup. Did you guys win?
I don't remember that one. I do not remember. All I know is
that
Ricky
was
Pearsall.
that was San Francisco's first week with McCaffrey.
Yeah.
I'm
Pause
looking
the
it up
pod
right now. Here we go. Their last one was 10-23-22. Kansas City, wow, they kicked the shit out of them, 44-23 in Santa Clara. So we will see.
We're doing that again. Same thing.
Jets, Steelers, Sunday Night Football, gross game. I don't even want to watch this.
If Justin Fields is a starter, I'm taking the Steelers. If Russell Wilson's a starter, I'm taking the Jets.
Bucks, Ravens in Tampa. Ravens are 3.5-point road favorites.
Actually, the game of the week.
A lot of
Bucks
good games.
run defense. Yeah, Bucks defense I think has been overrated. You traditionally think of the Bucks in recent years as having such a strong defense. I don't think their defense is that solid. Derrick Henry might run all over them. I'll take the Ravens handedly, set maybe 7 to 10 points. However, I love the Bucks. I think Baker Mayfield's having a great year.
Do the Ravens feel like the best team in football kind of by default? Like the Chiefs don't look fantastic right now, and the Ravens have just kind of done enough. Like the Vikings are such a question mark. The Lions, you still kind of have they have struggled in some games that they shouldn't have struggled in. But the Ravens feel like just kind of default they are the best team, at least in the AFC. Maybe not the NFC.
John Harbaugh has figured out that you got to hand the ball off to Derrick Henry, which they didn't do in their loss to the Chiefs. You have to feed Derrick Henry no matter what, all game long. He gets better the more he runs the ball, and they finally figured that out. And because of that, they're the best team in the NFL right now.
Can't believe it took so long to figure that out. Chargers, Cardinals, 9 o'clock Monday night. We have the dual Monday night game. This is stupid. This is really stupid that we're doing this. I don't even want to see Chargers, Cardinals on prime time. I wouldn't even – why play this game on Monday night? Just put it at 4 o'clock on Sunday. Both
bad teams. However, Chargers are on the way down. I think the Cardinals are making progress. Not this season, but they're building in the right direction. I'll take the Cardinals in a close one. Our next topic, we're going to discuss QB drama in Pittsburgh. The only time in recent memory I can think of a 4-2 team who's tied for first place in their division having a quarterback controversy. However, in an interview this week, George Pickens leaked that a quarterback would be making their first start. So obviously that would point to Russell Wilson starting for the Steelers this week. Here's a few stats I want to throw out on Fields. He has 10 total touchdowns, 5 passing, 5 rushing. He's 5th in the NFL in rushing touchdowns. One point I saw on Threads was he's leading the league in fumbles, and that could be the reason that they are looking to Wilson. However, of his 6 fumbles, only 1 has been lost. He's only thrown 1 interception. So he's protecting the ball, and they are winning football games. My biggest concern, if I were a Steelers fan, would be, one, Russell Wilson having no real in-game experience and then throwing him into starting a regular season game, and the team chemistry. Most insiders, I've looked this up, Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport, say that Fields is a good locker room guy. His teammates like him. They are supporting him. They have his back. Meanwhile, we know Russell Wilson, based on interviews with Richard Sherman, Marshawn Lynch, KJ Wright in recent years, say that Russell Wilson is not liked by his teammates. He's an all-around bad teammate. I remember the story of Marshawn Lynch saying that he had to go through Russell Wilson's agent to talk to him. Even as a teammate, you couldn't get a hold of him to talk football, to talk strategy. I don't know. There are so many flags about Russell Wilson as a teammate. I don't know why
just like Monday Night Football. So many flags. Yeah. Just like Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers was upset about that. Yeah, he was very worked up about that. But I mean, what's the rationale for this? You have a young quarterback you traded for, you gave him the starting job due to injury, and he has you in a much better position than you thought you would be in. Why would you make a switch right now?
I'm trying to look at their past games. I would say maybe they just want a little bit of a spark. I think this Steelers team has been punching above their own weight. I think every Steelers fan knows that, and Mike Tomlin can probably be attributed to bringing them, pulling them above their own weight. I don't know why my phone is just deciding to not load. But they just want a spark. I would love to see Aaron Rodgers versus Russell Wilson again. Famous rematch of the 14 NFC title game, I think. Famous onside kick, whole thing where the Packers blew the lead. I'd love to see that. Again, the Steelers just haven't been a fantastic football team, but Justin Fields has been winning football games. And I'll say this, I can relate this to Joe Flacco and the Colts. If you care about winning football games, and Joe Flacco is your best guy to win football games, you play him. That's all you do. And Justin Fields right now seems like the best guy to win football games. And we haven't seen Russ. I would like to see what we get out of Russ. I don't think they're worried about developing Justin Fields. That's the other thing. Like, you want him in the game. That's the same thing with the Colts. They want to develop Anthony Richardson. They want him in the game. They're probably more worried about developing. I would say you want to win football games. I feel like Fields is the best option, but again, Mike Tomlin knows them best. He knows that locker room best. I'll wait to see how Russ plays this week. I mean, he wasn't bad last year either. Like, let's not forget that. I think he was put in a very difficult position. He was in a no-win position with Sean Payton. And I also really don't like disparaging Russ. Like, he seems like a pretty good guy. Maybe he's not awesome with his teammates. I don't know. But again, the teammates that have spoken out, I don't think they have the best history as well in the past, especially like Richard Sherman. He just had something out with domestic violence recently. So I don't know if we should be taking their advice. But if they think Russ is the best chance right now, then just roll with it. The Steelers team, they're just trying to win football games.
Here's what to look for. So we know Justin Fields is much more mobile. Russell Wilson, early in his career, I think ran for 800 yards in his second or third season. In the past few years, he has not been very mobile. The Steelers are going to be without their starting right tackle and starting right guard for the season, and I believe their starting center has been out. So you have an entire side of the offensive line that's going to be down to backups. I'd like to see how much pressure is on Russell Wilson if he's able to manage that. If he can't move, especially if he still has some injury concerns. How long they leave him out there for if he's just under pressure the entire game. But like I said, that remains to be seen. And we'll circle back to that. If Russell Wilson goes out there and lights it up, then it's his job. If he goes out there and sort of rolls over, then Mike Tomlin looks like maybe he jumped.
I think they're just looking for a spark plug. Really, I don't think this is. I think this is honestly a no-lose situation for them. If they send Russ out there and he looks awful, and maybe they lose, so what? They drop to 4-3, right? You still have a winning record. This is a game you can say, okay, maybe we can lose this one. We can see what we have in Russ. I don't think it's a no-lose situation, because if he sucks, then you go right back to Fields the next week.
Yeah. I also like to see if they put Fields in there in the red zone on some kind of option or design runs. If they use both of them,
put him in as a receiver.
I saw some very strange stuff saying, "Oh, we're going to run a QQB thing." I'm like, dude, that doesn't work. They thought about doing that with Andrew Luck. We talked about that one time. That's not going to work. But we will. I am going to be keeping a close eye on this game. And with that, let's move to our last topic. My last topic. One of my favorite things to look at is teams who are moving in the right direction with a lot of excitement and how a good front office manages that. And I think that team this year is obviously the Washington Commanders. They have played above every expectation they had. Jaden Daniels, I was high on Jaden Daniels coming into the year, but even my highest expectations of him have been beat. Where does the front office go with this? Do you try to take a shot at winning the division, or do you hold pat and use your draft picks in key spots? Maybe bring in another wide receiver, go after some help on defense. A few names that I wrote down here that could help them, since they are, I believe, 20th in overall defense, and then they're like 19th, 20th, 22nd, and somewhere in that range in almost every other defensive metric. Zadarius Smith from the Browns, Emmanuel Ogbah, pass rusher currently in Miami, and Hassan Reddick, who wants out of New York. If you were the front, what was that?
Don't bring him in. No, he is just he's a problem. I mean, he's someone that would really benefit in Detroit. I think that would be a really good spot for them.
That's
you
where
can have
I
him
see him with.
Have him a year, I don't think it gives him an opportunity. I mean, listen, again, I don't know what's going on inside these clubhouses. We can speculate all we want, but we don't know what the hell is going on with Hassan Reddick and his situation. But what I do know from the outside is it would probably hurt a younger team to have a guy in there that has been causing the issues that have been transpiring so far. So I would say stay away from him. Bring him into a locker room that already has an established already has established guys, established leaders who've been there the past couple of years, and roll with that.
But do you think the Commanders would be smart to make a move and take a shot at winning the division this year? Or do you think they say, let's just kind of evaluate the progress we're making and build in free agency in the draft in the offseason? Because to bring in any of those guys from a bad team, you're going to have to give away draft capital. What do you think?
This is my problem with the NFL as a whole. And it goes into game management when it goes to going for it on fourth down and not taking the points. These teams do not like to wait and see what they have. That's what you have to do when it comes to developing quarterbacks. We call a guy a bust after 2 years. We call a guy a bust after 3 years. Look at quarterbacks of the past. We were spoiled with Brady and Ben and Manning and all those quarterbacks from that golden age of gunslingers. That's what I love to call it. Just that golden age that started with Manning and really ended kind of around when Mahomes was coming into the league. Rodgers is like that part of that last stage. I know you're not a big Rodgers fan, but I can't leave him out of that. He is still a gifted quarterback. Just wait, see what you have this year, right? We can already tell their defense is just not good right now. It's just it's not a great defense. It's not an elite defense. You saw it against Baltimore. They could have won that game. They had to get a stop at the end of the ball game, and they just couldn't stop Henry. You sit, you wait, you see what you have, and then you react. These teams like to try and predict the future, like not taking the points. Teams going for it inside the red zone in the first quarter. And then you sit there late in the game, and you're like, man, I wish I had those 3 points, right? Like we gave up. Yeah, we tried to get 7. Maybe we could have won the game, but you could have had 3 points to go and tie the fucking game, later in the game. Stop trying to predict the future. Take what you have now, evaluate it, and then act accordingly later. So they still could make the playoffs. Don't go and trade away all your draft capital. Go spend that on defense. Go and get the best defensive guys you can possibly think of and bolster your defense for Daniels. And that's going to set you up for the next 3 years. Look at the East right now. The Giants are, I don't even know what to call the Giants. What do you even call them? They're not they're not bad. They're not good because they're definitely feisty. Their defense is good, but they're just not a great team. They have no future. Dallas is floundering. Jerry Jones, they got killed on Jerry Jones's birthday. He had to get the sad strippers, not the happy strippers for his birthday. And then the Eagles, Nick Sirianni is shaving his head like Britney Spears when she had her mental breakdown. And what are they even going to do? They're a talented team, and they can barely win football games against the Cleveland Browns of all teams. This is a perfect opportunity to bolster your team and go in next year and really just barnstorm the NFC East for at least the next couple of years, hopefully. But if they want to be impatient, which I have a feeling they're not going to be, I hope they aren't. Don't be impatient. Sit and wait. Just evaluate how your year goes this year. If your defense steps up towards the end of the year, you can say, okay, maybe we can move to other sides of the field. These guys just took a little while to get comfortable, to get normal. So I really just hope they sit and wait and see what they got.
Yeah, I agree with you. I was on the treadmill today at the gym listening to a few other podcasts, and that's how I got this topic. Teams saying, oh, go get Zadarius Smith. Trade your third rounder for Hassan Reddick. And I was saying maybe – with a rookie QB, you've got maybe 10 years of him in his prime. Yeah. Let's stand pat and have a great season, have something to build off of. So I agree with you. But like you said, we know how the NFL is, and it's going to be an interesting trade deadline, I think. Me and Josh talked about it on another podcast a few weeks ago. And with sorry.
Oh, I'll make one more point. I'll bring this to Anthony Richardson as well. People are calling him a bust after he's played a few games. Like, first off, they aren't play calling to protect him. He doesn't know how to protect himself. That makes it the coach's responsibility to protect the quarterback. And you want to develop him as a passer, so you want him to be on the field. You're not worried. You shouldn't be worried about winning football games at this moment. You should be worried about developing as a passer. So they should be bad for like 2 to 3 years. The Colts should be bad while he's developing as a passer. And if he doesn't develop, then whatever. But at least you tried. But yeah, you have to be patient. This patience is key. These guys aren't Brady or Manning, or they're not that era. It's not that era anymore. You got the 2 high safeties now. They can't. Nobody can do anything against 2 high safeties for some reason.
All right, so that wraps up this episode. Alex, thank you so much for coming on. We hope you enjoy it. Subscribe. Go check out chaoticallyintolerant.com. Their podcast, blog articles. I'm going to have one coming up myself on that website here pretty soon. And what was I going to say? Sorry. We've cut that there. I forgot what I was saying. And then you just give something. Sorry.
Yeah. Go check it out. Go check out draftamerica.com. Mike does some good articles. We haven't done the podcast in a few weeks, but we're just we're doing our thing. We're feeling it out. Our game recaps have been doing really good. If you want to recap an NHL game, a baseball game, college football, or NFL, go check out our page as well. They're like 60 seconds, 90 seconds, whatever, just if you weren't able to catch the game.
All right. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.